Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping and Paul Felder.
Okay, the Believe You Me podcast. I am in Sydney, Australia. You are in...
I'm back just outside of Philadelphia. I'm back home for a very short time.
We are not in Saudi Arabia.
Nope.
I had the worst jet lag of my life. In Saudi Arabia. Oh my God, it was terrible.
Oh, that place, and it's the same when I'm in Abu Dhabi too. For some reason, that time change for me just absolutely crushes me. The first night, I slept no problem. And then from then on, I would be tired. I'd fall asleep for like 30 minutes and then be wide awake for another 3-4 hours. I was watching the O.J. Simpson documentary on Netflix, the new one about the case. I'd get sucked into it. Then I'd fall asleep at like 3 or 4 and have to wake back up at like 12. But the day we did fighter meetings, I had to wake up even earlier. Dude, I feel you. That place crushes me.
I was, I had like 2 hours of sleep every night. I was that guy. I was downstairs in the gym at 5 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
People were like, whoa, look at this guy. He's really getting after it. He's like, no, I'm just jet lagged like a mother effer. Good to be in Sydney, Australia. Right? No offense to Saudi Arabia. The people are very, very nice. But I tell you what, Sydney is amazing. I got here yesterday. There was a father and son sitting in the lobby. I met them years ago. They gave me a little cute koala bear. Welcome to Sydney, mate. And, you know, just the food and the people. Everyone's so friendly. It's nice to be back. It really is. I was saying, when I landed in Saudi Arabia, I got in the car. And there was like a couple of execs. I don't know who else was in there. There's like a full car. There's like 4 or 5 people. And we're sitting in the car. And I always say, I'll get the front. I'm the biggest. It's because I don't have to sit next to people and awkwardly chit chat, you know, when you're exhausted. And we're driving along. And somebody clearly farted in the car, right? It stunk. And everyone's just sitting there.
That's that travel fart too. That's that I've been on it.
And you can tell those ones, they are lethal. And I'm sitting there and everyone's pretending that we can't smell the fart and just politely talking. And I wanted to be like, yo, listen, guys, let's address the elephant in the room or the stink in the car. Wasn't me. One of you roll down your window out of politeness, please, for crying out loud.
Oh, man, that's the worst. And dude, I experience that on flights all the time. I'm sitting there in these flights, and it's like somebody is just absolutely ripping ass on these flights. And I just want to start yelling out in the middle of the flight, like, come on, man. And today on my final flight from London to Philly, I swear somebody was dying of COVID on that flight, hacking up their lung the entire time. I wanted to get up and hand this person a glass of water today. It was waking me up at certain points. I'm thinking somebody is literally about to die of, consumption or something over there. It was terrible.
In that person's defense, they might have just snuck their Benjamin onto the plane. Was cheating
in there?
They're like weed pen.
Right.
And blowing it into their blanket.
Oh yeah. No. I'm not going to say that I haven't done it, but I'm not going to admit it either.
Well, speaking of farts, Harrington put something in the news. Harrington, if you're there, please. He said that apparently farting in front of your partner,
significant other,
is a sign of a healthy relationship.
Yeah, as usual, only highbrow stuff from me. So I went all farting in the non-MMA today. But yeah, according to a new study, it increases. It's a survey from Mike showed that 29% of couples wait between 6 months of relationship to fart, which is about the same amount of time they wait to say "I love you." And it's been found that people who do fart in front of their partner overall, like their relationship score has like higher intimacy totals.
So I've got 2 comments on that. Number one, Rebecca hates it. I fart in front of her all the time. You know what I mean? So she's like, well, why would you do that? Are you not? I always have to say sorry. She's like, are you not going to apologize? She doesn't get mad. It's just a joke. But I'm like, babe, I had to do it. It felt uncomfortable. I had to get it out. But on the flip side, so we're very healthy, obviously. But on the flip side, she has never, ever once farted in front of me. I can
relate to this because I'm the same as you. When it's got to go, it's got to go. And I'm not sitting in my own home in front of my own wife and holding in a fart. There's no chance about that. But you're right. Christine, love her to death. She, same way. She's classy about that. I'm like, I know you're doing it somewhere. Sometimes I feel like women like that, they're going to the bathroom. Sometimes I don't even think they have to go to the bathroom. They're just going so that they can sneak away and fart. You know what I mean? Like, I know you have to. You're a human being. You have to.
Oh God. I just remembered this. I got caught when I landed in Sydney, right? We landed on the runway. 22-hour journey, by the way, via Dubai. And of course, when we landed in Dubai, there was myself and a few of the UFC crew. We're all in the lounge. Of course, had the first beer. That felt good after dry January and then a week in Saudi Arabia. Let me tell you, I was a little intoxicated. We're sitting on the runway and I had my headphones on.
Oh, no.
I had my headphones on. So I didn't realize. I thought, I've got that sensation. I'll just squeeze it out to give that little bit of relief. So I give it... and I pulled one headphone off just to make sure.
Just make sure you did.
And I did it, and then straight away, this German woman in the next seat, in the next row ahead to the right. The moment I did it, she went like a million miles an hour, and I'm like, "Oh shit, that was loud."
I got caught.
We have the footage.
Oh.
Don't fart, please.
It's fun.
We have the footage. Yeah, that was her. Anyway, should we talk about some mixed martial arts?
Yeah, sure. We could just keep talking about farts if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know in the comment section which kind of conversations you prefer. Yeah. I gotta say, I'm enjoying the fart stuff. Sharting is an issue as well, but
you got to be careful, especially when traveling and you're eating food that you're not used to eating. You know, it could be dangerous.
Especially when you have to take the odd laxative here and there because of the pain medication. Anyway, you were there. You were on the call. UFC Saudi Arabia. Of course, great night fights. Good main card. Israel Adesanya. I thought Izzy would go out there and prove to the world he's still the man. I thought Nassourdine Imavov, great fighter, big for the weight class. Other than Strickland, I think he had one loss when he first joined, but other than Strickland recently, the only person to beat him. I thought Izzy would pick him apart all night long. We all saw what happened. Massive right hook drops him, finishes him in round 2. Bit of controversy online about him trying to get his own Alex Pereira moment with the eye poke and the nut shots. You were on the call. Talk me through your thoughts, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking the same thing. I thought he should have taken that time. And ultimately, I'm sure he's looking back at it and thinking, God damn, I wish I would have taken a second and just let me clear the vision. But he didn't. And that is on him. You know, unfortunately, he decided to move forward. And that was a clean right. And, you know, I think Imavov and his team studied him. They've been watching him at the top of this division for so long. Izzy reaches. He loves to reach out and fight the hands. And he was patient. He waited. He had him backing up towards the fence where he couldn't necessarily move back as much. And look at this, right over the top, just as Izzy is playing. And look, reaching out, fighting the hands, and he comes over to the top. And as far as the stoppage goes, I think it was a fair stoppage. I think he was going to only keep taking more damage. I just think he should have taken time to clear the eye. Anytime you get poked in the eye, man, take your time. Because a nut shot's a little different. If it wasn't that bad and you want to wave off the ref like Pereira did, no problem. But an eye poke, you get blurred vision. You want to continue, it's a problem, man.
Yeah, I think maybe it just wasn't that bad, though. And that's why I said to continue, which I kind of respect. I kind of get it. Because if an eye poke's bad, there's no doubt you're going to go.
You're not going to be able to wave it off. Yeah.
No, you're going to be like, I need a second. Hang on. The stoppage I thought was completely fair because that right hook that he dropped him with, that was nasty. But I think that second follow-up.
Oh, dude, the uppercut.
That follow-up left that he cracked him with, that was a vicious one. Then he goes face down. And then Imavov, pardon me, because he made sure to correct everybody. Yeah, Imavov was on top of him. He's face down, taking shots. I spoke to Mark Goddard recently. Check out the interview on the channel if you haven't done. And he's like, you got to look at these kind of situations. He's face down. He's just taking 2 massive shots. He's getting pounded. Boom, that one right there.
That one was brutal. And he's about to put the hooks in too and potentially flatten him out and spread him like flat on the ground. And that's just the worst position that you can be in MMA, in my opinion, especially when you're hurt like that. You're up against the fence. And if you're spread out and your hips are gone, there's no chance of you getting back out, especially with somebody like Imavov, who's going to he's going to secure that position. And he's got great ground and pound and he was fresh. It was only in the second round. But Izzy did look great, man. That first round, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, man, he's back. He's smooth. He's mixing things up. He's throwing head kicks. He's going to the legs. And even in the second round, he was attacking the legs really well. He looked phenomenal. Just his physique, he looked in great shape. It looked like he cut a good bit of weight. He looked large in there. But Imavov, man, proven that he is potentially a fight away, or just maybe even being able to wait and see if Chimaev gets the fight in front of him after the fight this weekend coming up. He could just sit and wait potentially, Mike.
Well, by the way, we're going to go into UFC 312. That's why I'm Sydney as well, but that'll come later in the show. We're going to talk about Saudi Arabia. To your point there, because Imavov now, you beat Izzy. You should be right there. Simple as that. All right, this episode is sponsored by MagicSpoon. That is going to give you a treat. If you, like me as a child, you loved cereal and you still want to eat cereal, but you want to eat well, you want to take on a lot of protein, you don't want to put a ton of garbage in your body, MagicSpoon is here to save the day. As I say, as a kid, I loved eating cereal, but as an adult, you don't want all the sugar, and most cereals don't give me the protein that I need. And that is where MagicSpoon comes in, a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like my childhood favorites, but without all of the sugar and a ton of protein. By the way, MagicSpoon has also turned a super popular cereal into high protein treats that are light, crispy, and taste just like those classic crunchy cereal bars. MagicSpoon treats are so delicious and have already become my favorite snack before or after the gym. I'll be honest, even when you're just getting a little peckish, they fill that gap, they fill the void. You eat well, you enjoy them, and you're taking on an amazing 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and just 4 grams of net carbs. They come in many nice nostalgic flavors like cocoa and cinnamon roll. I prefer the cocoa. I do also like the chocolate peanut butter. That is one of my favorites. So if you want a good bowl of cereal, by the way, good way to start your day. If you're in a rush, you can easily have a bowl of MagicSpoon cereal. If you're getting a little hungry throughout the day, you just take one of their snack bars or a bowl of cereal. I love cereal. I used to eat it all the time, and now it's back in my life. Right now, you can get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/BYM, or look for MagicSpoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. magicspoon.com/BYM. If you want to try it, use that link, support the show, please, for $5 off, by the way, magicspoon.com/BYM. Dana was asked about Chimaev getting a passport for the UAE. Did you see this?
Yeah.
And because there's been a lot of people saying the theory is that he can't travel because of certain connections with certain people, and he can't travel. Dan's like, look, we can get him in the United States, no problem. Of course, he's fought in America several times. And then I think it was Oscar Willis from the Mac Life alluding to his, very close friendship with Donald Trump, the 47th president. I think he might know a guy that can figure that out.
He knows a guy now. He definitely knows a guy.
That basically means, because based on merit, Chimaev has to be next. He's undefeated. So Izzy's out of the equation now. Chimaev will be next. But the real question is, do we think Israel Adesanya should retire? I say yes. I think it's time. Look, listen, would I watch him fight again? Of course I would. Has he taken a tremendous amount of damage? No, he hasn't. He's not going to be like me sitting here in pain all the time and boring everyone on the podcast. He hasn't taken much damage. He's lost 4 out of his last 5 now, which is a crazy start. He's had a legendary career, the second best middleweight of all time. These are just the facts and the stats. I believe he was making around $3, maybe more $1 million per fight for quite some time now.
Yeah,
so he's a wealthy man. He's got loads of money in the bank. He doesn't need to do this.
Yeah, I think that he's got to make a decision. I agree. If he wants to fight and just fight the lower ranked guys and just fight to stay competitive, or even change a weight class, do something different, okay. But if you want to stay in the middleweight division, I think that the chances of you getting back to the top and beating these elite guys who clearly you're having trouble against, it's not going to happen. And now he's what, 30, 35?
Yep.
And that's, we talk about it time and time again, that's where a lot of these guys, especially somebody that's been as active as Izzy has, it's not like he only fought once a year for several years. He's been a guy that we've seen 3 early in his career, 4 or 5 times in a 12-month period. I think he's got to really take a look in the mirror and think, why am I doing this? What do I want out of this career? And really just decide what he wants moving forward, because I think the belt is going to be really, really far away. And if, you know, he wasn't even talking much about the belt in this lead up, and then you lose this fight. I just think motivation is going to be really hard to find for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, we enjoy fighting. The thrill of it is amazing. And that's going to be the hard part because, yeah, financially, I don't think he needs to. He doesn't. He doesn't need to. But it's the pride of finishing a legendary career on that kind of run, you know. Yeah. But it's also the fun and the thrill of competition and being the center of attention. I mean, I live a good life, but everything pales in comparison. I mean, I love commentating the fights. I love it. I do. It's great. I don't love the research. I don't love the travel, but that's why they pay me. You know what I mean? But everything's boring. Do you know what I mean? Because I used to be the man, fly off to the other side of the world, go on a mission. It's like a real life blood sport movie. Yeah, we're going to Auckland, New Zealand. As you know, we're going to Sydney. I was walking around yesterday. I went for a walk purposely past the host hotel that I stayed at for my 3 fights here in Sydney. And it just brought back so many memories. I remember my dad standing outside there with a couple of his mates. He'd go out there in the morning for his cigarettes after his breakfast and stuff. And they'd all sit around drinking coffee and having a laugh and stuff. And I'd be off going for a run and come back. It just brought back so many memories. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's that's the hard part.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the journey and the process we talk about all the time, just the training camps, even the stuff that we hate in the moment, you look back when it's all said and done and you're like, I miss that. I miss feeling a little hungry. I miss looking at a poster outside of an arena and your face is on it. And you know, even if you're in enemy territory, the fact that everyone's against you, the fact that people want you to lose, overcoming that, wanting to rub it in people's faces. And then when that's suddenly gone and you're watching all these guys still do it, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. There's no doubt about that. And that's from me, who only had a couple main events, wasn't a champion. Somebody like Izzy, who's been there, who was the best, who people are saying this guy can't be beaten. Looking at him like the next Anderson Silva of the division. And now suddenly, like you talked about, 4 of your last 5 and getting finished in a couple of them, the last 2, that's tough, man. And you think, no, all right, one more. The next time it's going to be different. This time it's going to be different. But at some point you've got to sit and think, something isn't adding up anymore. Clearly the skills are there, but what has changed? Why are these moments happening now? They weren't happening before. You weren't getting caught with these shots. You weren't getting caught with that rear naked choke. And now you are. Is it your age? Is it motivation? Is it the comfort level that you've got money in the bank and you don't need it as much as you do? But as we get older and more secure in life, it's harder and harder to face these guys like Imavov, who he wants every single thing that you have. And that's when guys got to really think about calling it a day.
It's a bit of everything, probably. You combine it all together. You know, I'm talking about why he's not getting the results. You know, I said this on the pre-show. Yeah, the fights, that's one thing. But it's the training camps. It's getting ready for those fights. I mean, yeah, he got finished against Dricus, but he got choked out, right? We get choked out in training all the time. He got finished against Pereira, came back and got revenge. He got finished against Imavov. Other than those, he hasn't been in these wars. All right, I guess Kelvin Gastelum, that was a war, you know what I mean? But he hasn't taken too much damage. He hasn't been like me with half my face falling off, you in a hospital having your lungs removed and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He hasn't been one of those guys. I said this to Michael Venom Page last week also, by the way. And I did second guess my question. Because the MVP is one of those, and we'll get to him in a minute. Never see him black and blue. Anderson Silva was the same. And I said, is it a black thing? You know, and as I said it, I was like, oh, God, it might be a dodgy question. But I think it's a fair point. I mean, some guys bleed easier. Nate Diaz, all of the scar tissue and stuff like that. But you don't really see a lot of the black fighters. And again,
busted open is bad.
I'm giving them a compliment, if anything. I'm not talking shit. But like, do you understand what I'm saying there?
I get you. Yeah. There's just, I mean, I think just our brows and the way that we're shaped like this. I mean, these things get cut open so bad. And guys like Izzy, they just don't take as much damage. They never look as beat up, even when they're getting hit with shots. I mean, he got swollen on his cheek and things like that. But not, you know, his eyebrows are never hanging off or anything like that. And maybe they're just better at us than not getting hit in the face.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Michael, no. We're just better. Okay. You shit. You were tough. Fair play.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the training camp. It's all the hours and hours and hours and hours in the gym. Whatever he does, all the best to Izzy. You know what I mean? People come out of woodwork and talk shit. I saw theories going around. Oh, he was the champion in a weak-ass division for a long time, but now the competition's starting to get better. We're seeing the results. You know, people always come out with shit like that. It's Darren Till came out, defending him. He was quite angry.
Yeah, he big time. He disagrees with any of those statements of people trying to call for his retirement and saying that they're out of their minds to think that he needs to call it quits. But, you know, Darren's always going to have his own crazy opinion on things. And he even said this isn't coming from somebody that's a massive fan of Izzy, you know, and he's still going out and defending him the way he did. But
yeah.
I mean, the problem really is still going to be there's big money on the table, right? It's hard to walk away from that when there's just big, giant paychecks waiting for you.
And you're right, because trust me, we all think we're going to go off and do other things. And I float about with a little bit of acting, and I might have a couple of lead roles. You're flying off back to LA tomorrow to do season 3 of Hacks.
Season 4.
3. Oh, season 4.
Yeah.
Season 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean,
sure.
I got to think you're getting paid.
You think.
Exactly. That's the point that I'm saying. I've got a couple of lead movie roles, hopefully, this year. We said that last year. But it pales in significance.
Nowhere near what you'd make on those big fights. Yeah.
That you get. And Izzy was making millions. So it's like, okay, I can retire. I don't need the money. But Izzy, all right, he's charismatic. The man can break dance. I've seen him do a bit of rapping, and you know, he's a showman, and he could probably go into acting and stuff like that. He could do whatever he wants because he's a really talented guy. But it's like, why wouldn't I do one more, get another few $1 million, try and exit on a win, and get to have the proper send off that he feels he deserves? That's always the issue. It's a son of a bitch.
You just keep chasing that, and you know, even. Case this Saturday, you know, you think, all right, I put the time in, I did the training camp right, I was focused, I didn't drink, I was staying in isolation, I was dieting hard, and it still doesn't work out for you. And that's when you really got to think, I keep chasing this beautiful send-off. MMA does not always work like that. Very few people get to do that.
Harrington and Brian, if you guys think of any, jump in and let us know. But when we think about these guys, these legendary fighters that had these big, big downfalls, obviously Anderson Silva. And I want to point out that, by the way, I was the second person to beat Anderson. Okay. He lost to Chris Weidman, he beat Nick Diaz, and then I beat him. So he wasn't damaged. He wasn't damaged goods. That's what I'll say anyway. We got Tony Ferguson.
Fedor.
Yeah.
BJ Penn. You said Fedor. No. Fedor.
Chris Weidman.
Chris Weidman, yeah. Chris Weidman. So Weidman, BJ Penn, Tony Ferguson, Anderson Silva, Chuck Liddell.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, Frankie.
Tito Ortiz.
You know, the point we're making is, look, we've seen this story before. We've seen it. And that's why you've got to say, fair play to George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Came in, choked me out, and said, fucked off as a 2-weight division champ.
See ya. Look, can't do this anymore.
But people don't. Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yeah. There you go.
Get in, get out.
Get in, get out, make your dough. Conor McGregor-ish. yeah. He's losing.
He made the dough. He made the dough.
Yeah, I don't know if he won the war. All right, this episode is sponsored by Rocket Money, that is here to save the day. If you are like me and you are a sucker for seeing something online, you subscribe to it, you sign up, you use it once, and then you forget all about it. But then it turns out you're still paying as time goes on. Years pass by and you're making loads of monthly payments. Number one, you might have forgot about them. And number two, they're very, very tricky to cancel. That is where Rocket Money comes in. I just learned that 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused every month. Well, now, thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all the subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones that you're not using anymore just with the click of a button, and you will save some money. It's that easy. Sign up to Rocket Money. See all your subscriptions right there. If you want it, keep it. If you don't want it, click cancel. You will save yourself an absolute bomb. Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. Easily create a personalized budget with custom categories that help you keep your spending on track. See your monthly spending trends in each category so you can see where your money is going. Get alerts if bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity maybe, or if you're close to going over your budget. So basically it's going to help you, track all of your finances in general, as well as just being able to cancel all of those unwanted subscriptions. The new goals feature, by the way, automatically saves you money, so you don't have to think about it. You can pay off your credit card debt, put away money for a house, or just build your savings. Rocket Money makes it all very, very simple, easy, click of a button. The app is super easy to use. Rocket Money will even try and negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save, and then you can ask them to renegotiate for you. They will deal with customer services, so you don't have to. Now, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. So, cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/believe today. That's rocketmoney.com/believe, rocketmoney.com/believe. Go there, cancel them, save some money, enjoy. All right, Michael Venom Page, Shara Bullet, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I was hoping, honestly, that it would be a little bit more exciting, but I think Michael Venom Page did exactly what he needed to do in that fight. You can't engage too long with Shara Bullet and give him a chance to catch you with something crazy. He was in, he was out, he landed the cleaner shots. The movement that guy has is so hard for people to deal with. It's ridiculous. And he doesn't get hit. He does not get touched. And I think for Shara, people are like, oh, he got exposed. I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't get exposed. He had to deal with MVP, who's one of the trickiest strikers in the division, whether it's at 170 or 185. He's such a hard puzzle to figure out. But I was hoping for a little more action in that one. I didn't think it was all that exciting, but I think that's how MVP's fights are always going to be. It's either going to be some crazy, devastating knockout because he catches you clean with one of those shots, or he's going to stay safe and not do anything dumb. I do like that he mixed in he tried to mix in some grappling. He didn't shy away from it. He tried a couple takedowns, and he showed that he can mix things up a little bit in there.
He looked, as you said, I mean, it's MVP. That's what he does. The weird thing is, a boxing coach, and this, again, it's not boxing, but the footwork for boxing is generally what we use in mixed martial arts. All you got to do is your lead foot, just turn it out a little bit so you can check kicks. But he doesn't use his feet necessarily to close the distance. He kind of leaps in. He becomes airborne and jumps through the air, lands a 1-2, and then that's when he lands. He pushes them away because he's got so much momentum going forward. He can't plant his feet and then back off. It's like, no, I'm here. I've landed. Ba-bum. Off, get away, and I kind of like it.
That stance, I mean, and the only way you can really get him is if you can anticipate when that's going to come. But he's so good at feinting. He's so good at just faking when that blitz is going to come that you never know. And and then you throw and you miss. And Shara Bullet was doing that over and over again. He'd think he had him set. He'd go to chop the leg, and the leg wasn't there, and then he would just come over the top with that big right hand, and like you said, kind of just bump you out of the way. And then even then in that fight, he would also grab the legs for a little bit, push him against the fence. They'd grapple for a second, and then he would just get back out into space. And in that big octagon like they had the full-size cage there in Saudi Arabia. You can't pin him down. You just can't track him down.
Well, you need fast feet. That's why you got to do a ton of footwork drills, and I think that is missing from some fighters these days. Shah was really good. Obviously, he was 15-0. He was a really, really good striker, but he just didn't have the footwork capability to close off the ring, the cage, back him up against the fence, corral him there, and then do some work. To be fair, MVP's, he's all over the place. He's hard to track. He said he's going back down to 170, though. He's got his eyes set on Bilal Muhammad. He's got his eyes focused on a match with Leon Edwards as well, not because of any beef or anything like that, just simply because they're the two biggest guys out of the UK, certainly both in the welterweight division outside of Tom, of course. So he thinks that'll be a good fight to put on in London. I agree. I think there's good fights for him at 185, though, if I'm honest.
Yeah, with that speed, and he's so much faster than those guys. And he didn't look undersized in there. I mean, I don't know if Shara's the biggest guy at 185 pounds, but by no means did he look like he was small in there against him.
Well, Shara's tall, but I did an interview with him last week and we exchanged eyeballs and stuff. And it was great to hang out and talk with him through an interpreter. Really nice guy. And I was looking at him. He is tall. He is lean.
Yeah.
I think his hair adds like
makes
3
him
inches.
look even.
Yeah. Because I was looking, I'm like, okay, he's definitely got like a big old head of flaming red hair. He's one of you guys, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You see him coming a mile away. I think the hair adds a few inches. MVP's massive for the division, but still, regardless. And then we'll leave the wrap up here and move on to other things. Then Sergey Pavlovich, Jairzinho Rosenstroick. I'll be honest, didn't deliver. Wasn't the fight we expected. I expected a knockout. I expected a war. I expected to be excited. I expected a lot more out of that fight. And I understand it. Sergey's coming off coming off 2 losses. So the pressure's on. But dude, you got to go for it a little bit more.
And you had him hurt. There was several times in that fight that he landed clean shots on Rosenstroick and just never capitalized. Instead, he would chase him to the ground. And he kind of talked about it in the post-fight presser where he's like, oh, man, I mix it up and people still give me shit. If I go out there and I just try to stand up, people give me shit that I'm not well-rounded. It's like, that's not what people are complaining about. The fact is you had a guy hurt. You could have probably gone in there and finished and you didn't. You played it very safe. And I get it. Like you said, coming off 2 losses, you went and got that win. I just think that the next fight that he really has to prove himself and go out there and show that he can be a little bit more aggressive, especially when he's got somebody hurt, because he hurt him a couple times and he just laid there. Even when you got him on the ground, Rosenstroick wasn't even really trying to get up.
That's what I was just about to say. On the ground, that's what screw it. Pisses me off. Because you got to take chances. And I feel like a lot of fighters these days are too safe on the ground. Hate to bring myself up, but when I got on top of someone on the ground, I would go at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm furious ground and pound. And all right, if they get up, so what? Jairzinho Rosenstroick isn't going to be hitting Kimuras, triangles and omoplatas off his back. He doesn't really have a ground game. He's certainly not going to sweep you, okay? And he's not good off his back, simple as that. He's dangerous on the feet. You've got him down. You're on top of him in round 2 and 3. You had a good bit of control time. Posture up, rain down some goddamn blows. That's why I was so pissed off when I saw what's his face, the big heavyweight, the Brazilian Jailton Almeida, when he fought Derek Lewis. Had him in the mount for 5 rounds and didn't do jack shit.
Not throwing anything.
Bro, at that point, the referee's going to stand him up. But fighters, I understand you want to control and there is an element of grappling. You want to pass guard, but Jesus Christ, guys, please. People, if you want people to watch you again, if you want to build a following, you need to provide excitement. Yes, you want to win. That's objective number 1. But Jesus, you got to try and finish fights.
Yeah, and you said it best, though. It would be different if you were facing somebody that was a high-level grappler down on the ground and you were worried about them ending up on top. But that's just not the case with Jairzinho. He's flat on his back. He wasn't even really making huge attempts to be able to get him up. And he just never let the ground and pound go, especially when he kind of wobbled him a couple times.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Michael. One person does agree with you that there definitely needs to be some changes in the heavyweight division. Tom Aspinall took to Instagram after this fight. He said, these heavyweight fights lately absolutely stink. Let's get some excitement back and stop holding it up.
I always say, Tom, nicest guy ever. He's so humble. He's talking a bit of shit these days. And it's like he came on the scene, when you're a heavyweight and you're working your way up, you're flying under the radar. Now he's the big man. Now he's the interim champ. Now he's coming for Jones. Now he's talking shit. I tell you what, I like it. Fair play to the guy. And hey, he's got a point. But he just knocked out Sergey, and then he's going to kick him while he's down. Go on,
dig
Tom.
it in a little bit.
I know, what a prick.
Yeah, but you know what? You're right, though. That's good that he's still waiting, right? He still doesn't know what's going on. So he's got to still keep his comments out there, stay relevant. And he's right. These guys at heavyweight, you got to be more active if you want people to keep watching these fights. And we keep getting these guys put into these big main events. That wasn't one, but we see time and time again, especially in the Apex, they headline fights all the time. People like to see the big guys fight, but you got to start giving us a reason to put you in those positions. You got to start giving us a reason in the UFC, a reason. They're making big money. Heavyweights make big money early on in their careers. They get bigger contracts than some of these lighter guys who are exciting get. So it's like, hey, earn that money, man. Show us a little something. Again, both those guys could squash me with their pinky, but I was pissed too. I'm sitting there watching that fight and I'm trying to find interesting things to talk about because there just was nothing going on down there, man. When you hit the mat and you're that big and you've got that much control, Sergey, come on. He's not going to get right back up if you start opening up with some big punches. And then I started wondering, and we were talking a little bit about, did their training with each other and their long, I don't want to say really good friendship, but was that a factor at all?
I'm sick of hearing about that, to be quite honest. I'm sick of it. Oh, they train together and this and that, or oh, I know this guy, or I'm friends with this guy. I used to be teammates with this guy. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah,
right?
I agree.
You don't start off on this mission together. You might meet them along the way and all the rest of it, but it's every man for themselves. And it's not a question of loyalty. It's about loyalty to yourself, loyalty to your family, loyalty to your children. They come first. You're trying to put bread on the table. You're trying to build a lifestyle. So when you retire, you can still send them off to a nice college or pay the bills or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who gives a shit, right? And if you train with him a little bit in the past, that gives you an insight to be able to go for it.
You know that on the ground, he doesn't have shit for you. You know that.
Yes.
Come on, man. Yeah, that was, I'm sorry. That was a stinker. Yeah. Dana hated it too. And, you know, and Michael, you know this, with the post-fight interviews, especially on the main card, we interview all the winners. And I'm sitting there, I got the microphone, I'm ready to go. And Niner came over because we had bad communication. You know how that we had real issues with the communication. The truck. So for anyone something got unplugged, apparently. So
typically, obviously, you know, it's a massive production and everyone speaks through the earpieces and this and that, you know, because it's a TV production on ESPN. It's got to be smooth flowing and, you know, everyone gets directed. Apparently everything went down. So we were doing the pre-show. We were just freestyling. Normally they're like, okay, we're gonna cut to this feature. We're gonna cut to that. We're gonna do this, and we just freestyled it. And I like it like that. I'm like, that's fine for me.
We had a lot of fun down there. 2
hours and speak at the top of my dome. I guarantee. I don't know this, but John Gooden takes his job very seriously and rightly so. But he is a bit of a little anxious body. Was he freaking out?
He was freaking out at first, but then the whole bunch of us kind of had fun with it because it, like you talk about, it was kind of like what we're doing right now. We were just talking. There was nobody to tell us, stop talking about that. There was nobody to say, wrap it up. We talked, you know, a lot of times people don't realize too, when we go in and out of commercial breaks especially for the US audience, the walks, oftentimes we're at commercial, but we continue and talk because some audiences can hear the walks.
Yeah.
But when it cuts back for the U.S. audience, you know how it is. Wrap, we're coming back from commercial break. Then you start again. Yes. We were all over the place with those because nobody could tell us to stop. So you just hear, and blah, 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 would come back in from commercial break and we're just still talking.
Yeah, I don't know if people find this interesting. Some might. But yeah, you're right, because when they're coming back from commercial break, they want it to be nice and clean, not come back and we're mid-sentence talking about something that they have absolutely no context of. Yeah. And then let's just say they're about to go. The fighters have walked in the octagon and we're finishing your thought, my thought, whatever. And then they cut to the tail of the tape and they want it clean. So when it cuts, the graphic changes, the commentary stops, Bruce Buffer walks in, everything's timed perfectly. So that was all out the window. But
all out the window.
Apparently somebody plugged something in to like a Wi-Fi cable that must have had a VPN.
They took something out and plugged something else in. And
plugged something in. I heard something with a VPN. I wonder why you had a VPN in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, why come on, somebody's getting caned.
Someone's getting fired. No.
Yeah. And for the post-fight interviews, I had my earpiece in, but normally Zach can kind of guide me through, give him one question, two questions, and it's all based on time. And people don't realize that. They're like, why were you short with this person? Why didn't you interview this person? It's because of the production timing. It has nothing to do. Somebody's like, Felder, that was disgraceful. You didn't go out there. You didn't interview Sergey. I'm like, bro, you think I'm in control of who gets an interview or not on this production? It's not my choice, man.
Yeah. This is a bit of a hot topic. I got so much abuse. It's an old story now. When Bryce Mitchell, who's in a bit of hot water right now, and rightly goddamn so, could come out with stupid comments. But anyway, when he wanted to say a prayer with Dan Ige, and I didn't let him. And I walked out because in my ear, we'd done
saying, get out of there.
Questions.
Get out of there.
Like, okay, rap. And he wanted to do an interview. And I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, you're winner, Bryce Mitchell. And everyone's like, oh my God, Bisping wouldn't let him say a prayer. We
That
know
atheist.
you're not a religious guy, but respect his wishes. It's like, bro, I do. It's like,
Nothing to do with me.
I cannot take international TV audiences hostage with my own beliefs. People don't get that shit.
Yeah.
All right, this episode is sponsored by Unbound Merino. What is Unbound Merino? Well, Unbound Merino is the website that you need to go to check out all of their luxury wool clothing items. I'm telling you, they are very stylish. You will look great. You will feel good. They are so comfortable. And with our link, you will get 15% off when you use the code BELIEVE. Unbound Merino offers timeless, versatile clothing that will help you look great in any situation. Their clothing is made of merino wool, which is temperate, regulating, moisture wicking, and most importantly, super comfortable. And I'll throw this in there as well. Stylish. Go to the website. I'm telling you, you will look good. Unbound makes it simple to pack for short trips or long trips, since their clothes can be worn for weeks on end without the need for washing. With Unbound's versatile pieces, you can go from the plain to outdoor adventures to that swanky dinner without the headache of overpacking or needing to change outfits for every leg of your journey. Unbound Merino was created by 3 lifelong friends who were looking to solve the age-old problem of how to pack light but look great whilst jet setting, while traveling the world. Me and Paul Felder should be wearing this stuff head to toe, because you don't want to pack too much stuff if you've just got a little trip. That is where their stuff comes in very, very handy and convenient. But more importantly, they are quality. They feel amazing. And all of their products, as I say, they look good. They are super stylish. Unbound's clothing allows travelers to pack lighter, save on checked baggage fees, and spend more time focusing on creating travel memories. Head over to the website, unboundmerino.com, where new customers can use the code BELIEVE for 15% off the order. Look good, feel good, travel lighter, pack lighter, but more importantly, you're going to look stylish, and save 15% when you go to unboundmerino.com. Use the code BELIEVE for 15% off. All right, so that was Saudi Arabia. Did you get out and try any good restaurants, Paul?
Just the night that we went to the Japanese spot and had a few fake beers, it was about the extent of my eating. Bro, I did not eat enough there at all. I was in my room, or I was at Power Slap watching you guys work. I had a boxed lunch that they gave us there. Then I had the Japanese spot. And then the last day, I finally hit the buffet with Joban. We went and had food. It was expensive, that buffet, too.
The buffet was good,
$150 for me and him for that buffet. Really? Yeah, but it was good. Yeah, there was a lot of options there, at least. It was nice.
No, it was good.
And everybody was really nice there. Everybody was super respectful. The hotel was great. It was very nice. The rooms were nice. It was cold. It was freezing. Yeah, it was not warm there at all.
Because I packed, I'm in Sydney, Australia. It's summertime down here. It's boiling. I'm on the road for almost 3 weeks because I'm sticking around a week with Rebecca afterwards.
Nice.
So, I've just got shorts and this and that. I didn't bring any jackets or coats. I was freezing my balls off. Anyway, what should we talk about? Harrington, give us a non-MMA, dare I say. And then we'll get into some UFC 312 stuff. What have you got, Harrington? Where are you right now? How are you, Harrington? Let's just talk about Harrington.
I'm doing great. I'm at home.
Yeah, I see you decided to show up this week. That's great.
Okay, yeah, I did. Listen, believe it or not, this was the most I've gotten like texts, DMs, hit up by just people in my normal everyday life, concerned as to why I wouldn't be on the Believe in Me podcast, because most people assume I'm dead if I'm not here.
Most people probably thought you'd gone off and joined some other show.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
go on then. Give us a story. Please not the I haven't looked at the non-MMA stories. I just got out of bed here. So what have you got?
I think this one's pretty good. You guys spend a lot of time traveling. You were talking about, how ways to cut down on your travel time. China has introduced a new service. It's an automated taxi that actually flies in the air. So they're saying people will take this instead of it'll turn an hour-long drive into a 7-minute flight, but you've got to trust AI with your life in the air.
Oh boy.
I actually saw some of these things up close. They're pretty legit.
No, it looks amazing. My only issue with this topic, Harrington, is that we have talked about robo-taxis, flying taxis, vertical takeoff taxis in New York many, many times, Harrington. We got to keep things fresh. Paul, do you have a quick thought on the flying taxis? Well, Harrington feverishly scratches his head and has smoke coming out of his ears while he finds another topic.
I think any talk of any air travel right now is a sensitive subject with everything that's been going on. I'll tell you, when I was getting on that flight yesterday, today, I don't even know what day it is anymore, Michael, but man, we were talking a lot about it the night of. You were already out, but we were having like some pizza and stuff in Zach's room, just going over everything and chilling. And of course we had the TV on and CNN was on because it was one of the only English channels we had. And all that we could see was flight this, flight that. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
Real quick. I just want to say this. You're right. When you travel international, the only 2 English channels I had were CNN and BBC. And I was so frustrated with the bullshit agendas, but it's the only English channels. And I've done like a couple of Instagram videos and stuff, and people, oh yeah, look at that. Knew you were a CNN dickhead. It's the only English channel, pal. I don't speak Arabic. Did we talk about that plane crash last week?
No.
And then there was
did you hear about the one in Philly? It was just in Northeast Philly, and people got hurt on the ground. Apparently a young kid is in critical condition in the hospital because of shrapnel that came off of that thing. And he was in like a car, just kind of waiting somewhere. And man, that one's a sad one. And that one's kind of just a freak thing. It was a small tiny little passenger plane that was taking a sick, like Mexican child that was getting treatment here in Philly. And they were going, I forget where they were heading, somewhere else in the US. And the plane went down just after like life-saving treatment here for some health conditions she was going through. Yeah, man, that one.
And the other one, the American Airlines one.
Because of the Black Hawk helicopter.
But I mean, if you go on Twitter, you can find the video. The helicopter just for a while is just going right at it. And then it explodes. Obviously, there it is there. I mean, just geez Louise. And a lot of people died, a lot of young children. They were on like a figure skating team or something like that. It's just heartbreaking. I saw some people talking about it. Apparently, the air traffic control officer, when they get confirmation from the pilot that they have a visual on the plane, they alert them that, whoa, there's a plane in your airspace. When they confirm they have a visual, then they are relinquished their responsibilities, and then it's time for the pilot to take over. And he just went right at it. And it was a military Black Hawk craft. So, like, I don't know, Brian, there might be some tinfoil stuff out there, but I think this guy just wanted to commit suicide. He must have. That's like the only way I can make sense of it.
The pilot actually had made like an evasive maneuver from stopping a different crash. So that it was a training flight in super, like the airspace over DC is very congested. And they run these sketchy just training drills all the time, and they're not supposed to fly over. Apparently, this woman was flying a little high, in the wrong space.
It was a woman?
Yes.
And of course, that caused a whole nother.
I ain't going to make any bad jokes. It's very distasteful. A lot of people lost their life, but there's definitely skin on that bone, meat on that bone for
So, yeah, there was just
I'm not doing
a near crash just before this crash.
So that's why all the talk of the DEI stuff, because I've seen that doing the rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, like, the FAA has been very DEI in their hiring over the past few years.
And we saw that with Trump's assassination. You know what I mean? They had two overweight ladies that were fumbling guns all over the place. What the hell they were doing there protecting Donald Trump is beyond me. Harrington, you jumped on there with no doubt a bit of critical input.
Yeah, sorry, my mic situation is not what it was.
You were muted, weren't you?
I was for a second, but
now you're coming through your computer.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I listen.
We're all right.
I got a whole meltdown on my side, but I'm going to power through this with some happier news. I got more lighthearted news.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You crack on and sort out your audio. We're enjoying this conversation. Because all this DEI stuff, people now they're ranting about, it's racist. It's like, no, it's just the best person for the job. If you're Chinese, Black, Native American, but you're the best at what you do, then you will get the job. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? It's giving them because of their background, their ethnicity.
Especially in situations like that, right? Especially in situations when we're talking about pilots of extremely complicated aircraft like a Black Hawk helicopter. All I give a shit about is you're the best person to fly that thing. If I'm on a commercial airline and I'm flying across the world to Saudi Arabia, I don't give a what you look like. I don't give a I just want you to be able to fly that thing.
Are you a lesbian Chinese girl? Oh, great. Good. You can fly the plane. I'm like, no, I don't care. I want to know that this pilot, whoever it is, male, female.
And if you are, and you're the best at flying the plane, I don't care what you identify as.
Flight hours, tons of experience flying international, and has been through some situations where they had to improvise, think on the fly, and stuff, and be able to land in terrible windy conditions, storm conditions. That's all that matters. Certainly when the public is putting their life in your hands. Air travel is generally very safe because they've got it nailed down and because the pilots are so good and the technology is so great. You can't diminish all of that because of some crazy agenda. It's just wild. Anyway, we sound like bloody old bastards.
Old conservative bastards, which I can assure you neither one of us really historically are.
I don't give a shit.
We're old, but
not that old. How old are you now, Paul? 40?
I am 40. I'm over the hill, officially, Michael.
God damn you. Go on then, Hampton. What were you going to say before
my Aura ring gives me my cardiovascular age, and apparently I am 10 and a half years younger than my actual age when it comes to my cardiovascular system.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's nice. Good. It's nice to know.
I want to de-age. I want to age backwards in reverse.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I work out every day. That's the biggest thing.
I'm sure cardiovascular, you are not your own age. There's no doubt.
I'm so pissed off because I want to go for a run around Sydney, but I can't because I pulled my groin. You know what I mean? I pulled my groin and it just fucking hurts. Just scurrying through the airport hurts. And I did it last July and it's still not getting there.
Dude, the groin, that's a brutal one. That's a brutal one.
Yeah.
Damn.
Harrington?
So the thing that I was going to jump on with,
sound great.
You sound amazing.
Thank you.
Honestly, it's great.
Coming from YouTube professional broadcaster, that means the world to me. So O'Shea Jackson was recently on Kamaru Usman's podcast, and he shared a pretty funny story about one Michael Bisping.
I got a funny
story about Bisping real quick. So we have a scene at night where he's driving, right? He's driving at night with a helmet with tints on the helmet and the car, right?
Oh, I already know.
He was like, yeah, it's crazy that they're making me do this. And I was like, why? He's like, I only have one eye.
What? I didn't know he had one eye.
Bro, he doing so well. He was like, yeah, they're making the one eye guy drive at night with a helmet on and tints. I said, wow, this go great.
I'm glad everything turned out okay. Bisping is safe. I'm guessing nobody on set knew.
Hey, he popped that sucker right out for me.
Wow. Oh my God. Shout out to Michael Bisping. Bisping, incredible.
All right. Oh shit, that's hilarious. Because I worked with him on the first Den of Thieves, and then that was the first scene we were doing when I got to Tenerife for the second one. And listen, I'm so grateful for the opportunities to be in those films. You know what I mean? And I get there, and they had to put this huge helmet on with just like a little bit there, but like you could hardly see out of it. You know, and then
that'd be hard for anybody. That'd be hard for anybody, yet alone you.
No. But I was I need this on camera. I need my face on camera. Do you know what I mean? What's the point in doing it if I've got a huge helmet on that no one can tell it's me? It could be anybody. And then when we get in the car, then they've got it set up with lighting rigs, and cameras and stuff in the car, and like a roll cage and stuff. And like you could hardly see a goddamn thing. So I'm driving, and I'm driving like a bloody old lady or someone that's just passed the test. And the director's like, bro, it's an action movie. You got to give it some. You can drive, right? I'm like, yeah, I can drive. And that'll give it some. And he's like, I'm like, dude, I've only got one eye. He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, don't worry. I've got it. But I'll tell you, I was shitting my pants.
Oh, I'll bet, dude. I'll bet. That would scare me even not with both eyes. I'd be like, fuck, I can't see shit.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do on a film is wreck the car without them wanting it to be wrecked. And then talk about budget, talk about things getting set back, and it's all on you.
Well, it's like everything in life is relationships. You know what I mean? Like in the UFC, I built good relationships. When I do acting stuff, it's all relationships. Do you know what I mean? I work with people, because if you're doing a film or a TV show or whatever, you're going away to some foreign place. You're there for a long time and you're surrounded with these people and they kind of become your family. And if you're a dickhead, if you're not easy to get along with and you don't do a good job, they don't want to use you again. And 100%. I was like, I'm trying, and everything I've done, it's always been the same directors. It's always been the same producers. It's always been, that I build good relationships with, because I ain't no goddamn, I ain't Paul Felder. I didn't go to acting school. Do you know what I mean? I ain't treading the boards. I ain't doing Shakespeare. But I know how to schmooze the right people and get another go. And I'm like, if I crash this car, they were like, yeah, he's gone. We're not using him again.
Yeah, that's stressful.
Yeah.
To say
Should we talk a little bit of UFC 312? In fact, Harrington, is there any MMA news to talk about before we get into 312 and start breaking down those fights? He's muted. It's okay. It's okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to charge my mouse with the same. It's a whole to do. Nothing strictly.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was me the whole time, just with him?
Muting the whole time?
Hold on. Brian, can you mute Harrington at your side?
Oh yeah, I can mute everybody. Yeah. I'm not doing it, but it would be fun.
This has been going on for years. Yeah. It would be hilarious.
Him look like an asshole the whole time.
That would be good.
I mean, look, there's some rumors that are out there. I don't know if you want to go into those, but as far as anything that's really factually confirmed, nothing crazy as far as UFC news goes. A couple of stories I have tied into 312. If you want to talk about those before we get into the card.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
So just a couple things. Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria are both cornering guys in the same fight for this weekend. Alexander Volkanovski, obviously his brother, and then there's a late notice.
No, Ilia Topuria.
Ilia Topuria's brother. Sorry about that. And then a late notice replacement for Volkanovski's gym. He's going to be in his corner. People are concerned that Alex Pereira is flying to Sydney to corner Sean Strickland when he has his own main event title fight in about a month. And then the other one is Caio Borralho is there to corner Bruno Brazil, and he's the guest fighter. But he did say he's kept his weight down. He's staying training just in case there is any issues during fight week. He is 100% prepared to step in for the main event.
Yeah, because they don't officially have any backup fighters for this one.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting, which is something that they do a lot these days. One thing you can bet your bottom dollar on, Strickland and Drickers, the type of people, the type of men, I'll use that word, that they are.
They're making it.
They're gonna make weight.
Yeah.
And they ain't pulling out.
They're fighting each other.
As that. Do you know what I mean? Because I believe a certain level of mental toughness has to come into play. You have to brush certain things to one side. If you're trying to make weight and it's hard and it's tough, are you mentally strong enough to push through it? Because you can make weight if you really want to. And you know what? All right, I've got a bit of an injury. I've stubbed my toe. I've done this. I've done that. You'll still walk. You'll still make the walk. Now we see some people pulling out these days, right? Neither Drickus or Sean Strickland are pulling out. It's just not who they are at the core of their being.
I agree 100%. That fight is happening. And I like that Caio is there and and willing to be low in weight and just show the UFC that he's that guy, but he won't be needed. And as far as people being concerned about Pereira and having his own fight, that dude is training all the time, no matter where it's at, no matter what's going on, whether he's in the woods, whether he's at some random gym, whether he's got to find random boxers at some gym in some city that he's at. That dude is sparring. That dude is training. He'll find work no matter where he's at. I would not be concerned about that man being focused and prepared, and no issues there with his own fight coming up.
No, I totally agree with all of that. And then also you got to factor in that they are friends now, which is,
I love that, by the way. I love that he's cornering him and can't even speak English. You know, that's great.
It's just moral support.
Yep.
It's not the first time he cornered him. He cornered him once before as well. Again, very humble of Sean Strickland to do that. You know, that says a lot about somebody, because as fighters, when you get knocked out by someone, okay, you don't hold resentment, but there's a little bit of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like I could go train with George because I've got every excuse under the sun. But like, so if he was to spark me, I don't know. But Sean would not only train with him, have him in the corner. I don't think there's any danger for Pereira, because also I think what he's doing, Pereira's probably getting paid a fortune. UFC 312 this weekend. Australians love MMA, love it. It's on Sunday morning. They get up, they'll have a barbecue, breakfast, beers, UFC action. It's a great day. Pereira's one of the biggest stars in the sport, right? There'll be appearances galore, you know, because I still get those kind of appearances and opportunities. I'm sure you do. Pereira is the man right now. So he can fly down, network a little bit, make
train,
50, 60, 70, $80,000 for just showing up somewhere, train a little bit with some other people, connect with his Australian fan base, corner Sean, go Shama a few times.
Shama.
And that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. That's a no-brainer for him. And it's speaking of the Sean thing, like a lot of people give Sean shit for him being an outlandish person, right? But we all kind of respect Pereira and love who he is and how he is as a person. And he's got that close relationship with him. And Eric Nixick, another guy that I love and respect too, has this close relationship with Sean. Sean says crazy shit, but you can tell that deep down and inside there, the guy is not a terrible human being. And when you're close with him, he's one of those people that, yeah, he might say some wild shit, but once you're in his inner circle, he's a guy that you look up to and you respect and you keep close to your heart, because he's a loyal son of a bitch, that crazy bastard.
Yeah, no, without a shadow of a doubt. I guess that leads us quite nicely into that. And you're going to have to give us a prediction, Paul, because I'm commentating, so I can't.
I got it.
Yeah, Drickus versus Sean. Who was it? Oh, Bilal Muhammad. Did you see Bilal's quote?
No, yeah, he went in.
What did he say?
He's going in hard.
He said something about
some stuff about his dad.
Just beat Izzy, but yet you've got the guy that jabs and team kicks people 1,000 times, and they're giving him. Yeah. But was that essentially?
Yeah. He said, yep, pretty much. Go ahead, Harrington. You probably know better than we do.
Crazy that Chimaev finished Whitaker and Imavov finished Izzy, but the guy that teeped Costa 150 times is getting the title shot. But we all know he's good at crying and using his mouth. No diddy. I just heard it from his dad.
And you know what Sean always says, that when he sees, and by the way, I like Bilal. You know Bilal well, right?
Yeah, very well. Yeah.
So I don't need to say I like Bilal. Sean always says, "Oh, you talks all this shit," but then when I see him at the PI, he doesn't say anything. I don't know. Like, got to be careful, because something might happen with them two one day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There is some super bad blood there, and again, Bilal is my boy. I trained with him for years at Rufus Sport, and I just hate seeing that kind of stuff on Twitter. And it goes both ways. I know Sean has said some really horrible things to Bilal and about Palestine and all those very touchy subjects. So I get it. I get there's just venom there. And that's why I say I hate all of it. I hate seeing when guys get very personal in this sport. I don't mind. You know this. I don't mind a bit of shit talk. You don't mind a bit of shit talk. But I hate when it gets like that, when it gets really personal, when it gets really deep and dark, and it goes both ways in those guys. And it just bothers me. And the crazy thing is Eric also has a decent relationship with Bilal, and I'm sure it's hard for him because he's trained with Bilal and coached him and held pads for him, and then these two just go at each other like that. Well, it sucks.
He ain't going to be in Sydney, so it doesn't matter. So we'll park that one there. Sean, all right, granted, he does always talk about, fight dick to dick, nipple to nipple, to the death. And then he does have his style, the way that he fights, which kind of, with respect, I'm not trying to talk shit, kind of conflicts a little bit, it does. But he's an entertaining bastard leading up to the fights at the press conferences. He's one of the most entertaining people now. My wife lands on Thursday morning. I've got the fighting meetings. The press conference is Thursday afternoon. I half want to go to it just to see Strickland and Dricus. But I know my wife is going to be like, Michael, we're not going to the press conference. I'm like, I kind of want to see it though because Sean's flipping entertaining.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. They're going to talk a lot of shit. But you're right. It is kind of funny that the energy that he puts out there leading up to the fights and then the energy that he fights with is completely different. It's kind of genius in a way, too, though, because he baits these guys into thinking we're going to have this bloody battle back and forth, just dogfight. And then he's very strategic. He's got a very good jab. He uses the front kick very well. He's a very good grappler that he barely ever even gets to show off. And when we talk to Eric, that is part of the game plan to mix things up. So I'm curious to see how this fight's going to play out. But the press conference is going to be more violent potentially than even the fight is going to be, honestly.
I think Sean, because obviously what he's got to do different is win because he lost last time, right? So how does he do that?
Yeah. How do you change
he has the Philly shell. He has one hand up and he's like this. I think he needs to abandon that. He needs to have both hands up because the way Dricus comes forward and swings the way that he does, if you got both hands up, you got a better chance of blocking them, okay? And he hasn't done that Philly shell all of his life. I remember training with Sean back in the day, and he never used to do that. So I say for this one, never mind that. Get both hands up. You got to go forward, and he's got to be more aggressive. He's got to fight more like the version of himself at the press conference. I understand why he doesn't. I understand this. It's being smart. It's using a fight IQ. It's controlling your emotions, fighting behind the jab. This is all really, really good things to do. But for this one, he's got to bite down on his mouthpiece and meet Dricus head on. Otherwise, he's going to go through him again. He's going to force him on the back foot for the most part. He'll land the takedowns. He'll get a little bit of control, and it'll be another close fight. Sean's got to it's on Sean to make all the changes.
Oh, yeah, and especially now because now Dricus is the champ. Now he's the one that's in the driver's seat of this situation. He's the one coming off of the win in the last fight, and it was a close fight, and he was the one that got the decision. So you're right. I mean, it's Sean that's got to be making it clear without a doubt that he's the winner of this fight if he doesn't get a finish. And I agree that he's got to be more aggressive. He's got to open up. That's the one thing and the one knock that people have on Sean a bit is that he's so comfortable in there. He does so much sparring. He's so ready for the combat situation that sometimes he gets a little too lax in there and a little too comfortable just scoring and staying in his comfort zone. He's got to change that up. And Dricus is so awkward and so hungry. And that's one thing when we talked to Eric, he talked about this dude wants to win. He wants to be the champ more than anything in the world. And that's a dangerous son of a bitch. So Sean has got to find that in himself again. He's got to dig deep and get the balls back in there a little bit and go out there and be a little bit more violent. I agree with you on that. But who wins? I
do love this fight though. I love it because Dricus is just a tough bastard. Do you know what I mean? He's like, this sounds stupid to say because we're all fighters. We're all very good at fighting. And that's why we made it to the UFC. Like for me, when I was a kid, I was like the local tough guy. I was like, in England, we say the cock of the school. That means like the toughest guy in the school. I was like the toughest guy in the school, cock of the school in third year, which is 5th year is the final year. I was cock of the school in the 3rd year, and I was very happy about it. And if anyone at any other school in any other towns thought, if their cock thought they could take me, I'd go and get them as well. Dricus was that guy. I guarantee it. And he's a man's man. Sean's a man's man. They're two tremendous fighters, and he's just going to be violent. Paul Felder, who walks away as the middleweight champion of the world with the dust in Sydney?
God, I'm so conflicted on this one because...
No, you're not. Tell the truth. Just come out with it. Grow a set of pair. Grow a set of power. Grow a power. Why don't you grow a set of power?
I'm going to go. All right.
Grow a set of powers.
I think Sean. I think Strickland gets it done. I do.
Let me ask.
Yeah.
Because of your alignment with Eric Nixick?
No. I think that the last fight was extremely close, and a lot of people thought Sean had done enough. I don't necessarily know if I believe that. I'd have to go and watch it again. But I just think that he will make certain adjustments, and I think that he knows the mistakes that he made. And I think with the alliance that he does have with Eric, who's going to be on his mother effing ass leading up to this fight, I think with Pereira there and all that, just going into this one and being in Australia where people seem to love him down there, I think he's going to have the support. I think he gets it done. And but I think it's going to be another close one. I do think it's going to be very close because Drickus is a dog, dude. And I do like Drickus a lot. So I say that I'm picking Sean, and I do think that, but I would not be surprised either way. But I'm going with Sean.
Okay, fair enough. Harrington and Brian, let's talk to the panel, see what you boys think. I don't think either man gets a finish.
No, I agree. I agree,
just
Michael.
So tough. Yeah. I just can't see Strickland finishing Drickus and vice versa. You know, Brian.
I might be in the minority here, but I thought Strickland won the last fight, so yeah, I think he's going to.
You're not in the minority. A lot of people did.
Yeah,
Dana did.
Paul said it. I definitely believe it. So in this 4-box, you're not in the minority for sure.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, listen, you I'm the minority. I thought Drickus won the first one. I think when you go, it was a close fight. And Brian, just look up. Can you look up the amount of strikes landed by each guy in the first fight? Forward momentum for the most part was on the side of Drickus.
For sure. The momentum and
the
forward
bigger,
pressure.
More damaging punches were on the side of Drickus. The takedowns were on the side of Drickus. And just the general pressure was on the... I'm not saying Sean didn't do a lot of good stuff. I'm not saying that. I thought he had some great moments. What I'm saying is Drickus had the big show-stealing moments when a round is close and a judge considers, who do I give it to? When things are kind of even... They'll look at, all right, who was going forward? Who was the aggressor? Even though takedowns don't really matter that much now, who got them? If everyone lands 10 punches, but one guy lands a takedown, then you'll give it to the guy with the 10 punches and the takedown. Do you know what I'm saying? So I agreed with Drickus, but it was close. And that's why I'm not scratching my head when people have the other opinion. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Listen,
anything to contribute. You're on the screen.
You were saying though, like you don't see the path to a finish. I do see the path to Drickus finishing Sean Strickland, just because, I mean, I've never seen Drickus finish in the octagon. I have seen Sean Strickland finish in the octagon. And if anybody has the kind of style to stop a guy like Sean Strickland, other than Alex Pereira in the division, it might be Drickus.
Yeah, look, listen, everyone can get finished on the right day. Oh, here we go. We've got some stats here. What's it saying? Because do you want to read them out, Brian? Because I'm on my laptop here.
Oh, wow. So Sean did throw a whole lot more.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, so Sean, significant strike. Sean Strickland threw 408 and landed 173. Duplessis threw 354 and landed 137. Total strikes, Sean threw 419 and landed 183. And Duplessis threw 358 and landed 140.
Yeah, so obviously the numbers on the side of Sean, but it goes back to what I said. Jabs, and to Bilal's point, he does throw the teep kick to the body a lot. But the reason he does that is using that as a rangefinder. The damaging shots were on the side of Drickus. But that front kick to the stomach, I think about this a lot. When I fought in Australia, the teep saved me. Because I remember I fought Jorge Rivera, and I beat him pretty easy. But he did catch me with a good shot that kind of wobbled me. And he was backing me up. And poof, it was a nice, good front kick to the stomach, front snap kick with the lead leg, boom, right to the stomach. And it stops his momentum. It stopped him coming at me and landing those follow-up shots. So it's a really, really good kick. But yeah, whatever. You got Drake. You got Sean.
I'm going Sean, but again,
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good one.
What else have we got? So we've got Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah. Oh,
Tatiana 10-0. Tatiana with the wrestling. Tatiana with the pedigree. Tatiana with the grappling. Tatiana with the lack of a strength of schedule. That's the big thing.
and that's, in my opinion, going to be the problem. I think she is potentially going to be the champion of that division. I just don't know if it's going to be this weekend, because I think Zhang Weili can deal with the grappling enough, and then is just a much better striker as well. I think she's just too good everywhere, in my opinion.
I thought Tatiana was going to be a double champ. I remember calling a couple of her fights, but she's hardly fought, and like it's not her fault.
She's had so many injuries. Yeah, it's insane, man.
A
Like
lot of
big
injuries.
ones too.
She's been really, really unfortunate. Of course, she had cancer when she had an injury, went for an MRI years ago when she was wrestling. They found cancer, and then she's busted her knees up and stuff like that. But as I say, I remember seeing her just destroying people when she would fight, and I thought, whoa.
Yeah,
she
I
could be
like her a lot. I really do, and I do think she will. I think she will be a champ if she can stay healthy and continue to stay active. I think she'll be champ. I don't know. I just haven't seen enough to say that I think she'll win this weekend.
I think it all comes down. Can she get the takedown? Can Zhang Weili keep the fight on the feet? Because I think Zhang's got
and 5 rounds too, right? I mean, Zhang's used to that. Like, she's used to those big pressure moments. She's been more active. She's been in those fights. She's had setbacks. She's come back and she's been dominant. And she's so physical, bro. I watch some of her Instagram stuff and some of the training that she's doing. She's a little monster.
Nah, she is. She's so sweet. My name is Zhang Weili.
Yeah,
Remember
and then
my
you see her
name?
training. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know. She's a monster. She's a monster. If Tatiana can't take her down, I think she's at a big speed disadvantage. But you never know. Maybe she does get it down. What's your pick? What's your pick? You're not getting out of here without a pick, Paul.
Yeah, no. And again, I say this. I like Tatiana. I love her partner, Patchy Mitts, but I'm going Zhang Weili on this one.
Her partner, Patchy Mix?
Yeah.
Are they together?
Yeah.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
They're a couple.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep asking that.
Oh, and they're hilarious. They're
Michael.
hilarious. We were at Slap. They were sitting behind me at Slap not in Saudi Arabia, in Abu Dhabi. The last one when we were out there doing them. And they were cracking me up sitting behind me. We were just kind of having our own commentary crew on the situation that was going on with Slap. Yeah.
Speaking of Patchy Mix, just made headlines since we've been
Sign that mother effer.
Since we've been doing the show, openly begging PFL to let him go. Dog, they're not giving him fights. Let him out.
Get him in the UFC. I'd love to see that dude mix it up in the UFC, man. Patchy mixing it up in the UFC.
I had no. I mean, I don't know why. I'm like, oh, they're together. They're a thing. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, listen. When two fighters, male and female, they get together, it's going to be the best thing ever. So, oh my God, we got so much in common. And by the way, I
couldn't do it.
I'm not judging your relationship. They're going to have wild, explosive sex. They got cardio for days. They're in the primes. They're ready to go. They're putting in extra rounds. Okay. But after a while, because I think you need a bit of yin and yang in relationships. You know what I mean? And yes, it's a wild, hot furnace. But anytime I see fighters together, and again, I wish them the best of luck, and I'm sure they're going to prove me wrong because I'm a dumb idiot, and what do I know? And they're going to have many children, and they're going to be very, very happy. But a lot of the time, you see these fighters get with other fighters, and after a while, they're beating the shit out of each other. Literally, they hate each other because, a fighter needs to be with someone that's a little bit opposite. Otherwise, at some point, they're just going to start beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I couldn't do it myself. I'm in agreement. Like Christine is the furthest thing from being an MMA fighter that you could possibly be, and I like it like that. And I know you're in the same exact position with Rebecca, where it's like polar opposite of being an MMA fighter.
Callum said to us the other day before I left, he's like, "Mum, have you ever had a fight?" And she just started laughing. She's like, "No," and he said, "Have you ever come close to a situation where you've had a fight? And she's like, no, never in my life. Speaking of Callum, I wake up here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I text you earlier. I wake up here. Check this out. I wake up. Callum calls me, which is rare. Do you know what I mean? I know if he's calling, there's something up. Don't get me wrong. We have a great relationship, but typically he calls dad when there's an issue. And I pick up and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, right. Listen to this. I'm like, oh God, what's happened? You know, he said, I'm in the den because he trains MMA. I'm at the den and a cop comes in and says, who's Callum Bisping? And he's like, it's me. A guy, some guy, some Mexican dude, like construction worker, was outside, thought he heard screaming from a woman in the back of his car. So he took a hammer and smashed out the windows of his car to rescue the woman or the child.
That's
Didn't
not in
find
there.
the person. To be fair, then called the police, which is nice of the guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Called the police to say, yeah, so I thought there was someone hide up in this car, so I've smashed the windows, but there's no one there. So the police showed up and they looked up the ownership. Anyway, whatever. This prick better pay.
Yeah.
Because Rebecca's down at whatever it's called, getting it taken care of to have windows put back in. I mean, all you got to do is look through the bloody window. Take a look.
Bro.
Or say, hello? Hello?
Yeah. Anybody in there?
Anybody in there?
What an extreme jump to conclusion that one is. I think I hear. What did you hear that you thought somebody was screaming in a car that you're then standing right in front of? What are you hearing?
Glass all over the place, yeah, of course. Unless Callum's just coming up with the biggest lot of bullshit ever because he's crashed his car.
Got some, or he's got some chick he's hiding in the trunk that he didn't want you to know about.
Oh, yeah.
Police would have found that.
Maybe he does. Maybe there's a dark side to Callum that we don't know about. You know?
You better give him those glasses. Give him the Dahmer glasses.
Yeah, I've got my contacts on now. So yeah, if you had these on,
yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, we're taking you in for questioning. We're taking you
back
in
to your house, see what's in there." Yeah, but like the first thing that you think of going to is smashing the bloody window.
Yeah, would not have been the call I would have made.
The guy must have been on drugs for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. You ever had anything like that, Paul?
No, never. The worst thing I've had with my car that accidentally happened was a trash truck. I used to live on a really small street in Fishtown in Philly, on a little side street, Flora Street, and you had to almost like park up on the curb so the trucks and stuff could get down. And a trash truck, you know how they have those big bolts on the wheels that kind of stick out a bit, just ripped off my entire like back bumper and everything. And I'm just sitting in my house and I hear this just metal wrenching, and I go outside and the guy's like, "Yeah, sorry, we didn't have enough room." I'm like, "What the f-? You just like destroyed my car."
Yeah, for non-American listeners, because they don't have them in the UK, and they drive me crazy when I'm driving down the freeway in America, and they have the big trucks, and they have tons of wheels, massive tires, and these big old bolts.
Yeah,
you know. Sticking out. They're like that long.
Yeah.
Why on earth do they have those? Because I always think, now I don't know. I'd like to look at one in the cold light today. Do they actually stick out more than the rest of the car? Because that's dangerous as hell.
Yeah.
See if you can find the image, Brian.
They shredded my car. And Christine heard it and she's like, "I think that's your car." And sure shit, it was.
Yeah, Brian, can we see if there's an image? I don't know what you Google. Lorry, truck.
Yeah, trash truck tires.
Whatever, who cares? Who gives a shit? Anyway, Harrington, are you there, buddy?
Always.
I don't think he is.
Always.
Do you look at the chat?
The chat? Chat? Yeah. This chat. Sorry, no, I was looking up stuff in another window.
What were you looking up?
Just different, the MMA news, seeing if there was any breaking stuff. Like that's how I saw that Patchy Mix thing.
I've been trying to validate this one story I see that says that Shara Bullet has retired.
Yeah, I heard about this too.
I've been seeing it. A few people posted it. Somebody said there was a paper in the UAE that reported it. I can't find that link. I can't find anything that corroborates it. I just see a couple of like publications and people posting about it.
Oh, I hope he doesn't do that, because I spoke with Shara last week. We did an interview. It's on my YouTube channel. It was through an interpreter. He has a little bit of broken English, but he was, now granted, I guess when I meet somebody for the first time and you're doing an interview, you put forward a certain version of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the guy that I met was very humble. He was warm. He was funny. He had a good sense of humor. And he was so kind with his words about how I inspired him, and he saw my journey and thought, well, if he did it, maybe it's possible for me. I hope, listen, he went up against Michael Venom Page. That's a tough nut to crack for anybody. And it's one loss.
Yeah.
But maybe because I think his goal is to be a champ, and then given the eye condition and knowing that no need. Shara, if you see this, don't retire, man. You got a lot left to give in this sport.
Yeah, the thing I saw was that the doctors were trying to encourage him to retire because of the situation. And obviously, because of the situation, he's not going to be able to fight in every commission, I think, is the other part of the problem. But,
well, I understand that, because that was ultimately, because I always said, and sorry if people have heard this a million times, because doctors warned me about fighting with one eye, and they said, if anything happens to your good eye, you'll be blind. And I always thought, well, lightning isn't going to strike twice. Most fighters get through a career without getting a detached retina. I did, right? Lightning struck. Lightning isn't going to strike twice. And then obviously I started having issues with my good eye, and I was like, all right, that's that.
Be done.
So sorry, I completely forgot about that side of things with Shara. And it's true. Once that dawns on you, because I remember a friend saying to me, don't you want to see your kids grow old? Don't you want to see what they look like? Don't you want to, it's a scary thought, actually being blind. When I started having the issues with my eye, in my good eye, I was in a nightclub, and then, again, I'm repeating myself for old school believers. I started crying. And I was in a club in China, and I just lost a fight, and it wasn't feeling so, I was terrified. I was terrified.
You might not be able to freaking see. Yeah,
I was going to be blind. And I couldn't stop the tears, and I just had to get out of it, because I thought, if anyone sees me, they're going to think I'm crying because I lost a fight. So I'm crying because I'm going to go blind. And I went back to my hotel. I just made it out the club. I said, I'm just going to go to the toilet, guys. And just when I got outside the club, I walked out, and I started sobbing my heart out, and I went to the hotel room, and then the guys came back after a bit when they realized I'd left. Yeah, it's a scary thought, man. It's a scary, because, obviously vision you take for granted. Yeah. You take it for granted. I mean, when I fought Dan Henderson, and my one eye, because he shattered this orbital on my good eye, it swelled up so much it closed. And again, I was in the shower after my fight, and I couldn't, I was actually blind for a bit. For like 10, 15 minutes until the swelling came down. Yeah. My Thai coach, Daz Morris, had to help me out of the shower naked.
Yeah, because you can't see it. Yeah, if the good eye's swollen shut, you got nothing.
No, I get it.
The eye shit's scary, man. I mean, I'm no detached or anything, but I had muscle damage from all the times I broke this orbital. And for years, and people I saw in the comments for the one episode we did, people are saying that my one eye blinks differently than the other eye, and it's because of the muscle damage that I've had in the right eye. And I did have double vision for probably 2 years after the Dan Hooker fight, because I'd broken that orbital and it did damage to it. So like when I would look to my right, I would see like 2 or 3 of things that would like split up. And I saw the eye doctor that the UFC sent me to, and the same thing, he warned me. He's like, listen, it might come back, it might get better, or if you keep fighting, you might permanently have double vision in the right eye. So, but now it's good. But every now and then, it'll kind of get a little wonky when I blink. For anybody that
I've never noticed that, but it's a crazy thing. People, they always notice the weirdest things, because because they're just looking at us, our faces. They notice all our little imperfections and stuff like that. They say that I blink a lot. It's like, I have a prosthetic eye.
Yeah, you have a freaking glass piece in your eye. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll wrap this one up in a minute. If you have a question, send it into bympod@gmail.com. A lot of questions to ask Paul, obviously. A lot of questions to ask me, so send it in. Subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, please. It helps out the algorithm. Dan Hooker, you reached out to Dan Hooker.
Yeah, we got to figure out. We got to schedule that.
This is what I love about the Paul Felder era.
He said he's good to go. He said he's willing to do it. So I'll reach out to him again and I'll figure out
next Monday,
maybe next week. Yeah, I'll text him when we're done here, and maybe I'll ask if he needs a manager that we should reach out to, or however it works. But
yeah,
we got to just figure out the time, right? Because he's got such a big time difference. But you'll still be
I'm in Australia,
so it'll be in the same time zone, pretty much, right?
Tell him Tuesday morning, because what is it now for me? It's 9:53
on Tuesday.
Tuesday morning, yeah, if you can do it.
So Monday evening for me, Tuesday morning for you guys.
Yes, yeah.
I'll find out what his training schedule is.
The Paul Felder era. He's sorting out guests, reaching out to people.
Oh, Dan's going to be it'll be a good one. I think that'll be a fun one for us.
No, I know. To be honest, when you speak to Dan, I'm just gonna bow out. I mean, you guys had a legendary fight over 5 rounds, and Dan's gone off and done great things with his career.
He's got so much. Yeah, he's still got so many big things left for him, and we'll talk about the potential matchup. I think it's pretty much set that he's taking on Gaethje. So yeah. He said it's on his side. It's as good. It's good to go when I talk to him. So
right,
let's go.
Get that one done.
See this, you won't, because I don't know how much you watch YouTube or anything, but we're getting you on, bud.
Bombard him, please. Bombard him.
Yeah.
All right. Brian, do we have any questions?
We got a question from Benji from Scotland.
Oh, boy.
Great, Benji.
We'll be able to understand it.
Oh, yeah. He's very legible.
OBYM, what's up? Love you guys. Now, as a former fighter, I know how important a corner team is. But what I want to know is, Paul, Mike, do you have a memorable moment within the corner, whether it be an inspirational speech or something you disagreed with or something hilarious? Let me know. I want a story. I want a good one. Come on, lay it on me. And I just want to say, where's Harrington at? I mean, is he on vacation, as you guys say in the States? Like, where's he at? Is he with Dirty Mike and the boys? Go on, Harrington. Get your ass back to work. Don't be a slacker. Keep up the good work. Love you guys. Paul, so happy to have you on the show.
Awesome.
That's how you ask a question.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
It's a good question, because I do have a story. Harrington was with Dirty Mike and the boys. Paul, I'll let you answer first.
Bro, that was our secret.
Harrington is Dirty Mike of Dirty Mike and the Boys.
Yeah, no. So, Paul, just for some context, you know the film, what is it? The Other Guys or Other Men? Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, the other. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the car gets stolen. Dirty Mike and the boys. I don't know why. Just one day.
I love that freaking movie. Actually,
it's hilarious.
Oh man, that cracks me up.
Yeah. So that's Dirty Mike and the boys.
I do have right off the top of my head. I immediately had two stories about corner advice, good and bad. We'll start with the bad. Okay,
let's go.
When I was fighting Darren Cruikshank in Boston. I was working with Daniel Gracie and the team in Philly at the time. And Daniel, unbelievable jiu-jitsu coach, funny, crazy Brazilian mother effer, hilarious. But sometimes he would just give you some stupid ass advice in the corner. Obviously, I took some shots. It was a me fight, so I got punched in the face, kicked in the face a few times. And we're going into the 3rd round, and Joe Rogan even commented on it. He goes, "Hey, no more getting hit in the face." It's like, I'm in a goddamn fist fight, Daniel. Can you tell me what should I do to avoid those situations instead of just telling me no more getting hit in the face? So anyway, that was the bad one. The good one was in the Dan Hooker fight, and in between rounds, Duke is pulling out all the stops to try to get me motivated, starts bringing up Aisling and why you're doing this. You're fighting for your daughter. Think about that. Think about Aisling. You got to go home. You're putting food on the table for her. This is everything for them. And I remember going in the 4th and the 5th round after he hit me with that, thinking about my daughter, my eyes swollen shut. I can't really see too well. And just coming out in the last 2 rounds like a bat out of hell because of that. Just kind of bringing up the family, bringing up all that kind of stuff. So that one, I remember, I can still get goosebumps thinking about when he brought that up. And it's like, let me get back out there right now when he brought that shit up.
I love those kind of speeches. You know, never mind the technical advice, just bring it out. Just give you the words of motivation.
That was all out the window. It was like, listen, we're in a dogfight right now.
Yeah.
You need to go forward. Think about why you're here.
How badly do you want it?
Yeah.
Brian, will I just tell this quick story? Just see if you can bring up, because these are the best. Look up Teddy Atlas legendary speech in corner between rounds or whatever. I forget what fight it was, but Teddy Atlas.
Yeah, he's had some good ones, man.
Oh, there's one online. I forget what it is, but Brian, just look it up if you can and play the video because it's legendary. Oh, he's got it already. Look at that. I was going to say,
concentration, reason a little bit. Pick it up. Pick it up. Don't pull it straight out. Bend your knees and be strong on the inside and go around it. Let's control the outside. Look, the fire's coming. Are you ready for the fire? Look, we're firemen. We are firemen. The heat doesn't bother us. We live in the heat. We train in the heat. It tells us that we're ready. We're at home. We're where we're supposed to be. Flames don't intimidate us. What do? We control the flame. We control them. We move the flame where we want to. And then we extinguish them.
God, I want to run through a freaking wall right now, dude.
I'm going to the gym after this.
We're coming back. We're coming back, Mike. We got one more in us. We got one more.
Oh, let's go.
God, that's good, man. That is one of the best
the vision,
ever,
the kids,
dude.
Fuck the future.
Yeah.
I'm taking someone out.
Yeah.
People on the streets of Sydney, if you see me, stay back because I'm ready.
You're getting a front kick to the face.
Yeah, exactly. A very soft one that you can see coming from a mile away and really slow. And as I throw it, I say, careful of my knees.
I pulled my groin.
Exactly. Yeah. My front kick isn't what it used to be. I've got a sore groin, okay? I'm just careful of my neck. If you decide to hit me back, I get it, but just don't. Just hit me on my left side. I will. Tell you what, listen, I make all these jokes. I will rip someone's head off and deal with the pain afterwards.
If you had to, you absolutely would. Sorry.
What do you mean if I had to? I still got it, bro. Self-deprecating humor at its finest. Around and find out, people.
God, that was good.
Around and find out.
That's good.
Quick story for the question. Fighting Matt Hamill, UFC 75 London. I'd done a lot of road work for that. I was in tremendous shape and all the rest of it. I didn't want to sit down between rounds. And my corner, my boxing coach at the time, great boxing coach, by the way, and a good guy. He goes, Mike, sit down. I don't want to sit down. Sit down. I don't want to sit down. Sit down. I don't want to sit down. And he just kept, we're 30 seconds into the break. He's like, Mike, will you just sit down? I said, I don't want to sit down. It's like, I'm good.
Let me stand.
I've just had a tough round. I'm fine. I want to stand. So that kind of blew up at the time as well. Oh, look, he's even disrespectful to his own coaches. It's like,
oh, jeez.
Well, stop telling me to sit down.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to sit down. I want to stand. I'm fine. That's about it. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap this one up. We'll go about our lives. Paul, you're flying off being a movie star in the TV show Hacks Season 4 tomorrow morning. Look at Paul. Come on. Tough life. I know. I just got here in Sydney. I love this place.
Shout out to it? It's Tuesday for you?
It's Tuesday for me.
I don't know what year it is anymore.
You're on Monday. I'm starving. So we'll wrap this one up.
Yeah,
Thank you for watching, everybody. We appreciate you all. We appreciate you, Paul, Mike, and Harrington. As I said earlier, do subscribe to the podcast and leave a little comment for the algorithm.
More questions like that guy, too. More questions like that. Was an awesome question.
That is the way to go.
Yeah.
Adios.